Good morning, everyone. We'll be starting shortly.
All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Developing Partnerships for Effective Program Outcomes webinar. Thank you for taking the time out of your busy schedule to join us this morning. Over the next 3 hours, you will have an opportunity to explore the potential impact of partnerships on your Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship programs and outcomes. Now, the target audience for this program is individuals accountable for identifying and or developing partnerships to support the completion of a comprehensive application for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO. So the job titles may include, but not limited to, program administrators, grant writers, fund developers, program managers, and program coordinators. Now, my name is Edwin Sanchez, and I'm a grant manager for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program. I have a few colleagues with me today that will be presenting along with me. So I would like to introduce my colleagues, Shar.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Shariana Falls, the grant manager at Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program.
Thank you, Shar, for introducing yourself. I also have my colleague, Dr. Austin, with us.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you. And also facilitating the chat is my colleague, Dr. Gia Sucks.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome.
Thank you, everyone, for introducing yourself. So you met a few of my colleagues who are joining me today, but Illinois Works has a large team of passionate professionals committed to supporting our pre-apprenticeship program success. So the current team consists of Dr. Ruano, who's the Deputy Director of Illinois Works, Mr. Dan Martinez, who's a Financial Grant Manager, Ms. Monica Pruitt, who is a Programmatic Grant Manager, myself, Ms. Shariana Folsey, who you just met, Ms. Sue Writings, who's a Monitoring Grant Manager, Dr. Jeff Doolittle, Instructional Designer, Programmatic Coach, Dr. Carlita Austin, who you just met, who's also Instructional Designer, Programmatic Coach, Ms. Olivia Weisenbach, Technical Writer, and Dr. Gia Sucks, Professional Development Lead, Training Analyst, and Programmatic Coach, who you also just met. There's also a team that's accountable for the Apprenticeship Initiative team and the Big Credit Program and the Career Services. However, this is a pre-apprenticeship team. Now, Illinois Works was created as a result of Governor Pritzker's historic $45 billion capital plan and his commitment to expanding equity in the Illinois construction workforce. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO includes a comprehensive set of expectations that includes multiple program elements. Applicants may have expertise in one or more of the programmatic requirements, but perhaps not all. Organizations can create bridges to close those gaps by establishing partnerships. Partnerships are formal arrangements by two or more parties. During this course, you'll be provided with information, resources, and support to help you successfully develop partnerships that allow you to provide the array of program components and services to pre-apprentices to meet the Illinois Works NOFO criteria and create a strong program proposal. Now, for more information regarding the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO, you can access the video recording of the Bidders Conference from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website. The link to the 2025 NOFO landing page is available in the chat now. Okay, so by the end of this training, you will be able to describe the relationship between DCO and Illinois Works, describe the 3 key programs implemented as a result of the Illinois Works Job Program Act, access information from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website, explain how GATA impacts potential partnerships, assess your program's capabilities against the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship program element, determine the types of partnerships that might strengthen your program, remove barriers to cultivating high impact partnerships, and lastly, access Illinois Works Peer Apprenticeship NOFO resources. Now, please note that this session is being recorded and will be made available for your review at the DCO NOFO 2025 website. Please keep in mind that it may take up to 5 business days for the recording and slide deck to be uploaded to the 2025 NOFO landing page. The link to the 2025 NOFO page is available in the chat as well. Now, any questions before we proceed to the next session? If so, please feel free to unmute your line or post your questions in the chat now.
Okay, Edwin, there are no questions in the chat.
All right. Thank you very much, Dr. Olson. I appreciate that. And so now we'll move on to section 2. So by the end of section 2, you will be able to use the WebEx features and functions to fully participate in this training today and identify what you hope to learn from the training today. So in order for you to be fully engaged, let us review some basic WebEx system functions because we understand WebEx may be new to some of you all, probably used to Zoom, Teams, or other video platforms. So there's a mute and unmute button at the bottom left. There's also a stop and start video, which stop and starts your own camera, a raise hand. So please, if you can, raise your hand now if you want to test it out and make sure it's functioning on your end. We will ask for you to raise your hand at some point, or if you have questions, you may raise your hand. Emojis, if we say something funny, you can express your laughter, or you want to clap or cheer. If there's something you like, there's emojis for you to react throughout the presentation. A chat, that's where you would write your questions. Please enter your favorite music band right now to practice the chat because there may be a lot of questions as we work through this important presentation. So please enter your favorite music band in the chat now. Now, to help facilitate the best experience, please keep your line muted to help manage potential interruptions during the training. So again, to practice our chat function, please enter your favorite music band or artist, music artist. Oh, Stevie Wonder. That's great. Earth, Wind, and Fire. Oh, some really good ones. Stevie Band. Okay. And I'm going to put mine. I don't have a favorite band, but my favorite artist of all time, Michael Jackson. All right. For the sake of time, move forward. So the lines can be unmuted during your question and answer sessions or group discussions. If you have a comment or question, please share it on the chat. Now, we'll be using Mentimeter as we go forward. So please, on the right-hand side of your screen, a multimedia viewer alert will pop up. Click the blue continue button. Once you press continue in the Mentimeter app, it'll show the viewer panel. There's also a link in the chat for you to access the Mentimeter. So please access the Mentimeter through the chat, or again, you should see the viewer panel on the right-hand side of your column. If you go on the website, you'll need to enter the code that's listed there. So this will allow you to fully participate in the training, as well as provide us with feedback. All right, now if you have further questions, comments, feedback after this training, you can also email us. The email address is available for you in the chat. So please write that down, or it's in the chat if you have a question that you think of after this presentation. All right, so we did talk about the Mentimeter and accessing it, and we'll be utilizing this tool throughout the presentation today. So using the Mentimeter, we would like to know who's in the room with us today. Please share the following: your name, your organization or agency, your role in your organization or agency, and what geographic location are you in Illinois. So please, using the Mentimeter, please share the following. And again, the website for the Mentimeter and the code is in the chat. Give everyone, we'll give everyone a minute or two to answer that. Again, please share your name, your organization, agency, your role in your organization, agency, and what geographic location are you in Illinois? Are you in the northeastern part of the state, southwestern part of the state, southeast part of the state? Okay, so we have Jada Smith from Safe Places Coaching Development, Grant Writer Manager, Chicago, Illinois. Thank you for joining us. We see hi emoji, waving hi emoji. Thank you. Hi to you back, whoever that is. Loretta Clark from Thornton Township Chamber of Commerce, the president of Chicago Southland. Excellent. Thank you for joining us, Arietta Clark. Ronell Ewing from the Community Works Director of Programs from Waukegan, Illinois, Northern Illinois. Thank you very much for joining us. I know we have more people on here, so please don't be shy. Tell us, you know, your name, your organization, agency, your role, your geographic location. You know, it'd be great to know who's in the room with us, potential future colleagues with us. All right, I think let's move to the next one for the sake of time. So we do have one other question using the Mentimeter. Again, give us some practice utilizing this tool. Please answer this question in the Mentimeter. What do you hope to learn today? Again, using the Mentimeter, the link is in the chat. If you don't have the Mentimeter viewer on your WebEx app, it is available in the chat if you want to access it in that way, along with the code. So what do you hope to learn today in today's session? So the topic is developing partnerships for effective program outcomes. You know, what do you hope to learn from today? Partnership requirements for a strong application. Yes, that's very important, making sure you have those partnership requirements and, you know, emphasizing strongly your application, your NOFO. Who is available to partner for the opportunity? It's a great point. What is the department looking for in partnerships with grantees and how to form ideal partnerships? Great topic, great point there. The requirements for partnerships and how to format the application to reflect these partnerships. Some great points and some great objectives listed here. So hopefully we'll be able to answer that. Now we're going to proceed to the next section, but before we do, are there any questions before we proceed to the next section? If so, please unmute yourself or feel free to put them in the chat now.
Edwin, there are no questions in the chat.
All right, thank you very much, Dr. Olson. So I will invite my colleague, Dr. Shariana Polsi, to present here.
Thank you, Edwin. Welcome to section 3, everyone. We'll be talking about Illinois Works and providing an overview. By the end of this section, you'll be able to describe the role of Governor Pritzker's historic $45 billion capital plan in the creation of Illinois Works, explain the role of the Illinois General Assembly regarding the Illinois Works Jobs Program Act, describe the unique characteristics of the Illinois Works Innovative Workforce Development Model, articulate the mission of DCEO, describe the relationship between DCEO and Illinois Works, identify the relevant data that is evidence of the need for Illinois Works, summarize the role of each of the Illinois Works 3 key programs, and explain the current status of each of the 3 programs. Yes, you're going to know all of that at the end. So I want to also just give a note. If you attended the Introduction to Illinois Works webinar that was delivered on 8/12/25, some of this will be a review refresher for you. But it's important that all participants today have a comprehensive understanding of the Illinois Works model, program, and all of the pieces of this program. So before partnerships are discussed, we want to make sure that you understand what Illinois Works is, what we do. Illinois Works is a top priority of the Illinois 2024 Economic Growth Plan, with new capital funding set to pave the way for tens of thousands of jobs over the next decade in the construction industry. The Illinois Works Job Program Act was intentionally designed to increase equity and opportunity in capital construction jobs for underserved groups of people, including people of color, women, and veterans. The intention is to reinvigorate the Illinois workforce for the future. The summary and full report are available from the DCEO website. The link to the governor's 5-year economic plan is being placed in the chat right now. So if you go there, you'll be able to see the Open for Business report. The Office of Illinois Works is housed in the Department of Commerce and Economic Development, which is DCEO. The Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunities' mission is to support and maintain a climate that enables a strong economy for our customers, including taxpayers, businesses, workers, and communities. Illinois Works was created as a result of Governor Pritzker's $45 billion Rebuild Illinois capital plan to expand equity. The Illinois Works Jobs Program Act is a statewide initiative to ensure that all Illinois residents have access to state capital projects and careers, including the construction industry and the building trades. The goal is to provide contracting and employment opportunities to historically underrepresented populations in the construction industry. This effort specifically targets women, people of color, and veterans. You can access information about DCEO and Illinois Works through the DCEO website. First, what you'll do is you'll click on About Us and then scroll down to select Illinois Works. Then the link for the DCEO About Us webpage is available for you in the chat now. So if you want to go ahead and grab it and bookmark it for later, that is an option for you. You can find the Illinois Works Job Program Act website at the link that is being placed in the chat. This website has information on the 3 key Illinois Works programs, the career services that link them, and the contractor resources as well. On the left-hand side of the website, there's a link to each of the 3 Illinois Works programs, as well as an option called Contact Us, which will provide you with the Illinois Works email address. To locate information on the pre-apprenticeship program, click on the Construction Pre-Apprenticeship Program on the left-hand side. At the bottom of the page, there's also a virtual assistant available. This is similar to a help function. You can click on it and search for relevant information. Illinois Works is a unique and innovative workforce development model that creates job demand, talent pipelines, and incentives to hire and retain. Typically, workforce development models have 1 or perhaps even 2 of these key components. Any one or a combination of 2 would substantially impact the workforce. The Illinois Works program encompasses all 3 of these key components to create a comprehensive response to workforce development at all levels. Illinois Works is a one-of-a-kind initiative and is in a unique position to make a substantial difference here in Illinois. The DCEO Office of Illinois Works, with the support and partnership of communities, building trades, and the construction industry, delivers 3 key programs: the Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative, Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, and the Illinois Works Bid Credit Program. We will review each of these programs in detail shortly. With your partnership, when we achieve our goals, we will have provided a career pathway for residents in disadvantaged communities, provide eligible apprentices with the skills for lifelong job security, promote construction as a viable job industry for women and minority communities, provide the construction industry with a consistent workforce for generations to come, and also create new partnerships between state agencies and community organizations. The Illinois Works Job Program is an expansion of apprenticeship opportunities that will not only help boost employment and wages for more Illinois residents, but will also yield significant benefits for our economy at large, since the construction sector is projected to grow 12% in the next 10 years. Investments in job training in the construction industry can result in significant long-term economic impact for the state, totaling $1.2 billion. For every dollar invested in construction job training, Illinois obtains $11 in social and economic returns. According to the Illinois Department of Labor and the U.S. Department of Labor, Registered Apprenticeship Partners Information Database System, RAPIDS, here is the percentage of apprentices employed in the state's construction industry by demographic group. As this table demonstrates, there are several groups underrepresented in the Illinois construction industry and building trades. Despite concerted efforts to reduce disparities in the construction and building trade industries, as you can see by this data, the disparities have gone largely unchanged. Illinois Works is positioned to change this trajectory. The first DCEO Office of Illinois Works key program is the Illinois Works Apprenticeship Initiative. This program opens doors of opportunity into the construction industry and building trades. It applies to public works projects with an estimated cost of $500,000 or more, including capital grants, loans, and direct capital contracts and awards. The Apprenticeship Initiative is operational and working on the compliance of state agencies. The Apprenticeship Initiative launched in June of 2020 and is presently overseeing the compliance of over 800 projects worth over $8 billion. A couple of years ago, we launched a new compliance management platform that allowed us to transform from a manual quarterly reporting system to a real reporting system that utilizes smart sheet technology. The state agency is accountable for ensuring compliance. It is the responsibility of the state agencies to follow the steps below, and the Office of Illinois Works proactively monitors each project to ensure that it complies. When considering grantees, awardees, loan recipients, state agencies are responsible for determining if the apprenticeship goal might apply to the project, ensuring that grantee contractor completes the budget supplement, monitors grantee contractor compliance with apprenticeship goals, reviews waivers and reduction requests, and upon completion of the grant contract, collects certification and submit it to the DCEO Illinois Works office. The next DCEO, Office of Illinois Works Key Program we'll review is the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program. The Illinois Works Initiative creates the demand for jobs, and the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates the pipeline of diverse candidates to help respond to that demand. Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates a qualified talent pipeline to fill job opportunities with diverse candidates. For our grants, we strongly encourage proposals that provide training in disadvantaged communities or for underrepresented populations in construction and the trades. This includes women, people of color, and veterans. In summary, this program provides pre-apprenticeship skills training through a network of community-based organizations, community colleges, faith-based organizations, and business associations, among others. Preference to underrepresented populations that have historically encountered barriers to entry or advancement in public works trades, including minority, women, and veterans. Free tuition and a stipend to participants who attend the program. A comprehensive array of supportive services delivered to help address systemic barriers which prevent underrepresented populations from entering the construction industry. Generous funding at an average of $11,000 per participant, we receive a $25 million annual appropriation to fund our network of providers. Additional information regarding national best practices is available starting on page 4 of the NOFO. In addition, you can review the program requirements starting on page 8. You can access the NOFO by using the link that is being shared in the chat. Just as a note, we will be referencing and mentioning the NOFO several times throughout this presentation. Illinois Works has provided the 2025 grantees with the Grantee Manual as a resource for instructions, guidance, tools, and expectations for program design, implementation, and delivery. Illinois Works is a semi-structured model with minimum program standards and outcomes, which are outlined in this manual. Guidelines that articulate structural expectations can be found in this document. You can access this resource by using the link that is now being shared in the chat. A 2026 grantee manual is currently under development and will be available to all grantees that receive funding for 2026. Are there any questions about the grantee manual? If there are, you can unmute yourself, you can raise your hand, or you can add your question or comment to the chat.
There are no questions in the chat, Shar.
Okay. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program current status. In 2025, 31 grantees received 37 grants across the state of Illinois, an $18.3 million investment. On average, the average award was $501,439. $501,439.02 with an $18.3 million investment. Our present network of providers has capacity to serve approximately 1,800 Illinois residents throughout the majority of economic development regions in the state of Illinois. Our goal with this year's NOFO is to fund approximately 40 to 50 providers, including existing grantees that will receive funding renewal offers. This will cover the whole state of Illinois, which is the maximum capacity we plan to operate in within the future. The final DCEO Office of Illinois Works key program is the Illinois Works Bid Credit Program. Illinois Works Initiative creates the demand for jobs. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program creates the pipeline of diverse candidates to help respond to that demand. To complete the puzzle, we have created incentives to help ensure that the Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship program graduates are hired and retained by contractors and subcontractors. The Illinois Works Bid Credit Program incentivizes contractors to hire and retain a diverse pool of candidates. In summary, the Illinois Works Bid Credit Program allows contractors and subcontractors to earn bid credits for use toward future bids for public works projects contracted by the state or an agency of the state. Bid credits can only be earned for employing apprentices who have completed the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program, but they can be earned for any project the graduate works on, public or private, union or non-union. DCEO established the bid credit earning rates for all prevailing wage construction trades. This rate will be reviewed and revised annually. There are no maximum bid credits that can be earned by contractors and or subcontractors, and no limit to the number of Illinois Works apprenticeship graduates they can hire. The Illinois Works Bid Credit Bank is administered by DCEO as a mechanism for tracking the bid credits. Bid credits can be pooled between multiple contractors and or subcontractors for a single capital funded project, but there is a maximum allowable bid credit amount for each project based on the estimated project cost. The bid program has launched and is a tool to support the transition of Illinois Works pre-apprentices into DOL registered apprenticeship programs. Companies qualify to get bid credits as long as an Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship graduate is in a DOL registered apprenticeship program. If it takes graduates 3, 4, or 5 years to finish their Department of Labor registered apprenticeship program, the contractor will get bid credits for all those years. The bid credit program rules are approved. In addition, the Smart Sheet bid credit platform for contractors became operational in March of 2024. And all contractors are encouraged to join now to obtain their account number and begin receiving the monthly newsletter and program updates as they are released. A state-of-the-art platform was developed to track a contractor's bid credits through the Illinois Works Bid Credit Bank. This platform also allows the tracking of the pre-apprenticeship program graduates contractors hire in order to earn bid credits. Lastly, the Career Services team is the glue that holds all the pieces of Illinois Works puzzle together. Illinois Works recently launched the Career Services team designed specifically to build relationships with DOL Registered Apprenticeship Program, or RAPS, directly connects employers and graduates through job matching, create and provide customized lists of graduates, and provide long-term transition supports to graduates. The main goal of Illinois Works is to increase the number of Illinois Works pre-apprentices gaining employment and entry into Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs of their choice. By achieving this goal, the team directly supports the goal of connecting contractors to a highly qualified talent pipeline, which allows them to earn bid credits to be used for future capital projects funded by the state of Illinois, by an agency of the state of Illinois, or give them the ability to comply with the apprenticeship initiative. To learn more about Illinois Works and its programs, you are encouraged to access the August 12th webinar from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO landing page. You can access the website using the link that is being shared in the chat. Before we proceed to the next section, do you have any questions or comments about DCEO, Illinois Works, or any of the key programs? Please feel free to unmute your line or post your questions in the chat.
There are no questions in the chat.
All right. If there are no questions about this section, I'm going to pass this presentation on to my colleague, Dr. Carlita.
Thank you, Ms. Shar, and welcome again. So we're going to talk about program elements, and by the end of this section, you'll be able to describe the evaluation criteria for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program NOFO application. Identify the program elements under program requirements in the NOFO, and complete a partnership self-assessment of the program elements. Now, if you have any questions regarding the content that we will be covering during this session, please feel free to add that in the chat or unmute yourself. Okay, I see we do not have any questions in the chat, so I'm going to move on. As many of you know, the DCEO Notice of Funding Opportunity, also known as the NOFO, for the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program was released on August the 1st of 2025. In fact, most, if not all of you, are likely here today because you saw that release. And if you have not, you can access the Notice of Funding Opportunity by using the link that's being shared in the chat. Applications will be graded using a merit review process and scored based on the following criteria. Number 1, applicant capacity, 25%. Number 2, documentation of need, 25%. Number 3, project quality and integration, 30%. And number 4, cost effectiveness, return on investment, 20%. Additional details regarding the merit review criteria can be found in the section E.1 of that NOFO. The department will designate an evaluation committee to grade each application received for this funding opportunity. Grants will be awarded and funding levels will be determined per application based on its alignment with requirements of this NOFO. Based on the review, applicants may be selected to enter into negotiations with the goal of arriving at acceptable grant terms, including budgetary and scope of work provisions, at which time the final decision to make a grant award will be made. The application period is between August the 1st, 2025 through September the 1st, 2025 by 5:00 p.m. Central Time. If this anticipated timeline changes, DCEO will notify all applicants of the new timeline. The application review information starts on page 25. Each section will provide you with detailed information regarding their respective content included. A, program description. B, funding information. C, eligibility information. D, application and submission information. E, application review information. F, award administration information. G, state awarding agency contacts. And H, other information if applicable. This section provides an overview of Governor Pritzker's executive order regarding workforce development and job creation. Illinois Works' 3 key programs, which we reviewed at the start of this session as well, as national best practices, program history, program goals, program requirements, and performance goals and measures. We will revisit program requirements in detail later during this session. To access this section in the NOFO supplement template, go to Program Description and then go to Program Requirements. Let's revisit the program requirements starting on page 8 of the NOFO. These requirements are the heart of the NOFO. These program elements represent each of the requirements for a high-quality pre-apprenticeship program that can significantly increase apprenticeship opportunities for historically underrepresented populations. As we have previously noted, these populations include women, people of color, and veterans. Specifically, Illinois Works NOFO has a dual goal. One, to increase representation in the following economic geographic areas. Central Region, Region number 1, Sangamon County. North Central Region, Region number 3, Peoria County and McLean County. Northeast Region, which is Region number 4, DeKalb County, DuPage County, Kane County, and Kankakee County, Kenville County, McHenry County, Suburban Cook County, and Will County. Northwest Region, Region 6, LaSalle County, Rock Island County, Whiteside County. Southeast Region, Region 7, Marion County and Lawrence County. And then last, Southern Region, Region number 8, Jackson County. The second is that it increases the number of programs that can serve underrepresented groups we presently are not adequately serving, including Asians, women of color, women, and veterans. For those of you who attended the Bidders Conference on August the 19th, 2025, this information and graphic should be familiar to you. So let's take a brief look at the elements that may require some emphasis and may lend themselves well to a partnership. Partnerships are parts of the program requirements. So when considering partnerships, the first step is to identify your organization's capabilities, which of the program elements can your organization respond to at the highest level? Let us complete the capabilities and partnership self-assessment together. So we're going to do this as a collective so that we're able to walk through each of these elements together. And we will share a copy of the self-assessment tool using the file transfer feature. You will be able to download WebEx transfer feature, the capabilities and partnership self-assessment document from the transfer table that will appear on your screen. Now you should see the WebEx transfer feature on your screen. It's a little black box. Step 1, you want to select the document. So go ahead and click that document so that it highlights itself. When you select the document, you'll begin to see the select download button. So your download button will highlight. Identify a location on your desktop for your partnership self-assessment. So you want to be able to save this directly to your desktop. And then the last step, once the document has been saved to your desktop, now you're able to open the document. Keep the capabilities and partnership self-assessment open as we will go through each of the questions in the assessment together. Once you've done that, if you are loaded on your desktop, you can go ahead and exit out of file transfer. As we review each of the program elements using the capabilities and partnership self-assessment, assess your program's current capabilities using the following scale. And before we move on, I'm going to ask, is there anyone who still needs a little bit more time to access the document? If so, please raise your hand. If there's anyone that needs to access it before we move on, we want to make sure everyone has an opportunity to utilize it.
Alita,
And
there are no
also, before we,
I'm sorry. I was going to
okay,
say,
thank you.
Yeah, there are no raised hands. However, there is a question in the chat.
Okay, if you are planning to serve a particular region that includes a targeted county, can you include multiple counties, particularly if one of the counties is a targeted county? And I'm going to defer this question to one of our grant managers. Edwin, can you please address the question in the chat? Thank you.
Yeah, so if you look at the NOFO website, it's broken down by what regions. There's region 1, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8. Um, so, for example, if you look at Region 4, Northeast Region, it has the Cobb County, DuPage County, King County, Kankakee County, Kendall County, so it goes by region. So I hope that helped answer your question. So you could, so if you're looking at, for example, North Central Region, Region 3, Peoria County, and King County, by you selecting Region 3, by default, that's Peoria County, King County. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Well, Edwin, I appreciate that response. I was asking kind of specifically as it relates to Region 4. Lake County is not a targeted region is not a targeted county within Region 4, but we are considering providing services to both Lake County, which is a non-targeted county, as well as McHenry County, which is a targeted county. So I was just trying to see, can we serve multiple counties within that region?
That's a great question. I would need to get the answer to that. For now, can you go ahead and email that question over to us, please?
I will do that. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you for that response. And we'll go ahead and move on. I believe we have someone in the chat that would like a copy of the assessment. If we could provide that for Ms. Jada Smith.
Sure thing. I can do that.
Thank you. So with the self-assessment scale, as we review each of the program elements using the capabilities and partnership self-assessment, assess your program's current capabilities using the following scale. And we'll check back in with you, Jada, to make sure you're able to get that information. But as we move forward, use the following scale. Number 1, no experience or expertise. Number 2, moderate experience and expertise. And number 3, extensive experience and expertise. Any questions before we get started? Okay. Are there any questions before we get started? Let's start with the wraparound supports. These services help pre-apprentices overcome non-academic barriers to participation and successful program completion. Now, there are some allowable costs that are included, but not limited to, financial literacy, housing costs, mental health services, child care, digital literacy, transportation, driver's education fees, car repairs, emergency bill payments, and other costs that create an obstacle for the participant. Now, if you're referencing the NOFO supplement template, additional wraparound services can be found on page 6. So moving on to our Mentimeter question, what additional wraparound services might add value for your targeted population? So the website and codes are also available in the chat. What additional wraparound services might add value for your targeted population? All right, let's see who is responding. Are there any responses? And I'm sure in your own organizations, there are times when you use wraparound services, and they may model the same way for Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship Program. Rideshare, okay. Thank you for sharing that. Housing. Are there others? And if you, there we go. Transportation, child care assistance, mental health services. Okay, thank you. Are there any others? I want to thank you for your contribution. Does your organization have expertise or experience in providing these types of services, including dedicated staff persons? So what I want you to do is read the description and respond to number 1 on the capabilities and partner self-assessment regarding wraparound services. Don't overthink it. The intent here is just to exercise, give you the chance to see what your own capabilities are, just give you a snapshot of your current capabilities. Does your organization have expertise and experience in providing these types of services? And keep in mind, we are giving ourselves a chance to score and scale what we do by rating it 1 through 3. So make sure you're filling out your assessment sheet along with the conversation. The next one is your program must provide plans for assisting participants in maximizing their academic success and attaining the required certifications or credentials. Allowable program costs may include, but are not limited to, tutoring services, retesting, makeup sessions, or other educational enrichments. Now, while wraparound services are for non-academic barriers, student support services are for academic barriers, things that would prevent them from completing their training. So here's the self-assessment. Does your program have experience with providing these types of services to support academic success and the attainment of certifications, credentials, and even including dedicated staff persons? Go ahead and rate that from 1, 2, or 3. So you want to read question number 2 on the capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding student support services. We have someone that needs support. Ronell is asking for the assessment. He has provided his email address. If someone can send him a copy of the assessment, please.
You're working on sending it to him now. Thank you, Carlita.
You're welcome. Okay, let's move on to the next point, delivery of the other instruction. Your program must provide plans to refer students who do not have the minimum program requirements to educational services in the respective communities, including free literacy, GED, ESL classes, and among other things. These services are vital to the potential participants who do not qualify to register for your pre-apprenticeship program because they still need to obtain their high school diploma or their GED certificate, or cannot engage in training in English. So your plan must include how applicants' barriers to program entrance and success will be addressed. Your plan should include strategies for removing barriers for underrepresented groups. So let's look at the self-assessment scale again and answer the question for number 3. Does your program have experience providing other instruction that supports student participation and success, including dedicated staff persons? So in reading number 3, go ahead and rate your capability. Okay, does anyone need more time for that question, or can we move on? Okay, thank you. Let's go on to outreach and recruitment. Your program must outline proactive recruiting and outreach strategies that will generate a significant response from your target population, keeping in mind that Illinois Works focus on underrepresented groups that enroll in and successfully complete your pre-apprenticeship program. Your strategy must acknowledge race and gender disparities in regional construction and building trades occupations. Applicants do not need to serve all populations targeted by this NOFO. They can focus on one or more of the underrepresented populations, including women, people of color, and veterans. Applicants must understand and communicate union and non-union DLL registered apprenticeship programs requirements to program candidates. Additionally, if the organization is offered a grant award to the team is required to create a marketing and outreach plan. So let's go on to the self-assessment scale for outreach and recruitment. Read the description and respond to number 4 of your capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding equity focus. Does your program have experience engaging your intended target population? For example, women, people of color, and/or veterans. Take a minute and respond to that question. Okay, we're going to go on to the next question, number 5. Read the description for number 5 and respond to your question of, does your program have experience, expert knowledge, and a proven track record of outreaching to and connecting with your target population, including dedicated staff persons? So that would be a response to question number 5 regarding recruitment. So go ahead and rate it 1 through 3. Okay, let's move on to number 6. Read the description and respond to number 6 on the capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding outreach. Does your program have a specific experience with creating and implementing an outreach and marketing plan for your specific target audience? Take a moment and rate that 1 through 3. Okay, how are we doing so far? I'd like to get some feedback from you all. If you could just give me a thumbs up, you're okay. Everybody's on the same question. We're all caught up. Can I get some thumbs up? What's my reaction? Very good. Thank you, Jada. Anyone else having any problems getting access? Are we all in? All right, thank you. Ranel says he still needs access to the assessment. I'm not sure if they're working on that right now for you, Ranel, but I think they're trying to get you set up. And it looks like we're going to do our transfer one more time. So, Ranel, if you can you unmute yourself and give us a status update so that we know that you are able to have access to this document?
Thank you. Edwin sent it to me via email. Appreciate it. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you for letting us know. So we're going to move on to our curriculum and instruction. Thank you, Gia, for that. Submitted curricula must provide at least 183 hours of instruction and should not exceed 300 hours of instruction unless approved by Illinois Works. Instruction should have a strong emphasis on hands-on practice in a construction laboratory and at the job sites. Your program's curriculum design must be based on Illinois Works approved curricula, including, and I'm going to walk through our expectations. Illinois Works program orientation up to 4 hours. Introduction to construction and the trades requirement. Construction certifications required. For example, Trades Future MC3, NCCER, ICCB, or other Illinois Works approved curricula. Applicants are invited to submit alternate curricula beyond Trades Future, MC3, NCCER, or ICCB. However, any other curricula submitted must be nationally recognized and based on construction industry practices. Also, OSHA 10-hour construction, first aid, and CPR, and any other nationally recognized certifications if applicable. Next, employability skills based on Illinois Essential Employability Skills Framework, which is about 32 to 40 hours required. That can include harassment prevention, 4 hours, diversity and inclusion in construction, 4 hours. And then we have test-taking skills, 4 hours required. Work-based job site learning, 10 to 50 hours required. And shop math, 40 hours required. Applicants must submit proposed curriculum outline, including hours, instruction, modules offered, length of the training, and the logistical plan for delivery. See Attachment 3, Sample Curriculum and Proposal Curriculum. Applicants must submit a proposed curriculum outline, including hours, instruction, modules offered, length of training, and so on. So let's talk about the curriculum self-assessment scale. Can your program provide at least 183 hours of teaching, learning, real-world practice, and job site instruction, including dedicated staff persons? So this is from question number 7 on your capabilities and partnerships self-assessment regarding curriculum and instruction. Take a moment and rate what you think your capabilities are in these 2 areas. For question number 8, can your program lead students to obtain MC3, NCCER, ICCB, OSHA, First Aid CPR, or other relevant construction industry certifications or certificates, including a dedicated staff person? So for question number 8 under curriculum and instruction, go ahead and rate that 1 through 3. Okay, let's move on to learning. Applicants must explain how they will coordinate education, learning, necessary support, retention services, and coaching. The department is also interested in applicants who will use innovative teaching and learning tools, including online virtual learning, such as alternative learning, reality or AR, or virtual reality or VR, immersive training, and learning techniques, among others, if applicable. As far as work-based learning is concerned, grantees are expected to offer experiential training, also known as practicums. Your program must include opportunities for pre-apprenticeships to do construction work at job sites while taking instruction or immediately after completing instruction. So the idea is that their training is hands-on where there is an instructor present. Job site practicums are generally supervised by the program instructors and are coordinated with community-based organizations, contractors, or government entities that give students opportunities to put into practice what they learned in the classroom. You can see attached 3, a sample of the curriculum and the proposed curriculum. Your program should outline existing or planned partnerships for work-based learning and practicum work sites. So this is something that needs to be thought through in the application process. Successful applicants will provide 10 to 50 hours of work-based learning. If technical reasons prevent you from providing hands-on learning experiences, job site visits, and tours of the DOL registered apprenticeship programs, you may propose an alternative to replace this requirement. So let's look at the scale, self-assessment scale for learning. Does your program have extensive experience leveraging innovative tools, including online learning and virtual learning during unforeseen events like COVID or weather? So for question number 9 on your capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding learning, rate your level of capability for learning. Next, I would like for you to read the description and respond to number 10 on the capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding work-based learning and practicums. Does your program have experience providing and or coordinating work-based learning or on-the-job learning? Take a minute and assess your organization's capabilities. Okay, let me just check in and see how we're doing. Thumbs up if you are all set and you've answered both 9 and 10. Let me see by a show of thumbs up that everyone is ready to move on. Thank you, Ms. Jada. Anyone else? Are we all set to go? It looks like we're ready to move on to transition and follow-up. Your program must provide plans on how it will assist participants in transitioning to DOL registered apprenticeship programs, including connecting them to employers and unions. This requires programs to continuously develop connections and relationships with employers, DOL registered apprenticeship, union-based, company-based, or other relevant apprenticeship opportunities, construction education, or other employment, as well as experience with transitioning students to these resources. Communicate to transition partners and participants about their big credit programs. In addition, you are expected to leverage other resources and or matching funds by utilizing funding from partner organizations. This can include curricular standards, the best practices, along with providing additional funds for other supportive services. Also include plans for referring participants that do not enroll in the apprenticeship programs into advanced construction education and training programs or other employment. Applicants should outline how they will follow up with participants beyond program completion on at least a quarterly basis for a period of 1 year. There needs to be a solid transition plan at the start of the program that includes your formal and informal partnerships. This cannot be stressed enough. It is important to have these connections for the program to be successful. So let's take a look at the self-assessment scale for transition and follow-up. Please read the description and respond to question number 11 on your capabilities and partnership self-assessment. Does your program have the experience, connections, and relationships to help transition participants into DOL registered, union-based, company-based, or other relevant apprenticeship opportunities, construction education, or employment, including dedicated staff persons? Take a moment and rate your capabilities. Question number 11. There's a lot of content in question 11, so I'm going to give you another minute to kind of read through it carefully and then assess your own organization's capabilities so that you can provide the score that you believe is the appropriate score. Okay, let's move on to read the description for responding to question number 12 on the capabilities partnership self-assessment regarding leveraging other resources. Does your program have experience conducting follow-up with participants beyond the program completion on at least a quarterly basis for a period of 1 year, including dedicated staff persons? Okay, we are almost at the last question for this assessment, data tracking. As you know, our goal is to significantly increase apprenticeship opportunities for historically underrepresented populations, which will be evaluated by DCEO and the Illinois Works Review Panel and reported to the Illinois General Assembly. Given this, your program will be required to successfully transition participants, collect and track data and outcome measures. Your program will be required to utilize the Illinois Works reporting system we call IWRS. IWRS as a reporting platform and workforce program management tool used to track grantee performance and progress toward the negotiated outcome measures for your program. Data entry is expected to take place in real time, meaning that the data should be taking place at least weekly, if not more frequently. All programs should plan to have a dedicated data entry coordinator responsible for data entry and integrity. The data is used by DCEO to verify compliance progress and create required reports for the Illinois Works Review Panel and the Illinois General Assembly. Additionally, it allows the Office of Illinois Works to conduct longitudinal evaluations to verify and document the impact of the program on enrollees and the state of Illinois. So let's take a look at the self-assessment scale for data tracking. Please read the description and respond to question number 13 on the capabilities and partnership self-assessment regarding partnerships. Does your program have experience with acclimating the new data management systems as well as data collection, data entry, and data tracking, including dedicated staff persons? And this question is regarding data tracking. Okay, just so I know that we have done our due diligence, I would love for every participant right now to type in the chat, yes, if you have completed your self-assessment scale. Please type yes in the chat now. Thank you, Ronell. Anyone else? I think we have several people that have joined this meeting today. Can you drop a yes in the chat just to let me know you've completed it? If you have not, put a no in the chat so we know where you are. Thank you, Jada. Anyone else? Go ahead and type yes in the chat. And as we move forward, you can still type yes in the chat so we can read it and know where you are. So right now, we're going to go to a Mentimeter question. And this one asks which 3 elements, or identify 3 to 5 elements that emerged as capabilities for your program. These should be elements on your capabilities and partnership self-assessment where your program scored a number 3. So wherever you scored a number 3, type in that particular element. If you need access to, there we go, student support services, okay. So that one was scored as a 3. Any others? And if you need more access to Mentimeter, that information has been provided in the chat. We have about, I can't see those little bitty numbers anymore, but I think we have about 8 or 9 people in there. Student support, follow-up, equity focus, and wraparound services. Very good. Thank you. All right, we're going to move on. You identified your program's capabilities, and the next step is to identify areas where partnership might complement your program to create a portfolio of services that encompasses each of the requirements we just discussed. Identify 3 to 5 elements where your program might benefit from a partnership. These should be elements of your capabilities and partnership self-assessment where you scored a number 1. So look in the area of your scale, of your assessment, where you've given yourself a number 1, and those will be the ones that you would identify here in Mentimeter. Someone mentioned data and information tracking. Very good, thank you. Your program could benefit from data and information tracking. Any other areas where your program could benefit? Instruction, training, and we use partners for that. Good, thank you. Any others? We're going to give you about another minute. Delivery of other instruction, learning, okay. Job placement, thank you. Are there other responses to this question? Work-based learning, okay, very good. Very good. All right, let's move on to capabilities and partnership self-assessment. The elements where your program scored a 2 on your capabilities partner self-assessment, you and your team will need to decide if this is an area where the capacity can be developed or if a partnership would be more appropriate. So, make your friends before you need a team. Based on the Illinois Works Career Friendship 2025 grantees, we have found that the areas of partnerships that are most vital for immediate and long-term success are mentor and alumni network services. Now, these services are not the most requested by participants and frequently do not exist. The next one is transition partners. Having transition partners proved to be something that is very valuable. These services should include but not be limited to your DOL registered apprenticeships, both union and non-union, additional advanced training, and employment opportunities, which are central to a successful program and often underrepresented. The next one is delivery of instruction, support for creating and delivering curriculum content. The next one is student support services. Then we have recruiting qualified candidates, for example, churches or places of worship, community-based organizations, local representatives, mentoring organizations, or community centers. And then we have job site experience, where you have contractors and subcontractors. These are all ways to build partnerships to help you have a successful program. One of the errors grantees make is not focusing on these at the very start of the program. If they wait until they need these partnerships to start developing them, it will be too late. So let's look at potential partners. Let's take a few minutes and complete the potential partner column in the assessment document. For those areas you determine might benefit from a partnership, your program was assessed as a 1. Consider who might be potential partners. So on your self-assessment scale, add them to the potential partner column, and we will allow you a few minutes to complete this section. Again, this is an important part of this program, establishing your partnerships at the very beginning so that you are building your relationships early in the process so that your students can transition into those partner organizations, those DOL reps, those construction trade jobs. Okay. If you need more time to identify potential partners and to continue thinking about it after this training is over, that may be something you want to spend a little bit more time with after we've done this program. But we're going to move on to describe our heat map. In addition, Illinois Works has provided a heat map. This technology provides an overview of statewide demographic data, Illinois Works project data, as well as the location and essential information for all Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship programs and Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs. You can access information regarding these following items: Illinois Works pre-apprenticeship programs, concentration of underrepresented populations, economic development regions, Illinois Works projects by county or critical importance, the Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs. All of the information relevant for Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs can be found by clicking the blue squares. Now, the map's coloring demonstrates the number of Illinois Works projects happening in each of these counties, with dark pink symbolizing higher concentrations and darker teal representing a lower concentration. The red circles on the map represent the concentration of the underrepresented populations as outlined by the Illinois Works Program Jobs Act, which include women, individuals of color, and veterans. The blue squares represent apprenticeship programs, and the yellow stars represent the Illinois Works funded pre-apprenticeship programs. You will see a link to the heat map provided for you in the chat area. So let's move on to talk about types of partnerships. Once you've identified areas that might benefit from a partnership, it's time to identify the type of partnership that would be appropriate for each relationship. And then we'll cover different types of relationships in the next section of the webinar. But before we proceed to the next section, do you have any questions or comments? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself or post your question in the chat and we'll be happy to answer your question.
Lita, so far, there are no questions in the chat.
I have a quick
Okay,
question.
thank you, Sheila.
Good morning, everybody.
Go ahead.
My question is, would you like to see these partnerships already formed in the proposal, or is it okay to show that like they're in progress of being formed, or what are you looking for in the NOFO as far as partnerships?
So if Edwin is available to answer this question, this is Gia, but I'll also add the NOFO does look for memorandums of understandings or letters of support. And so that would indicate that a partnership is already developed, but we do have our subject matter expert in the room. So let's turn it over to Mr. Sanchez.
Will you repeat the question one more time?
I just wanted to know, when submitting the proposal, would you all prefer to see these partnerships already formed, or is it okay to show something that these partnerships are in progress of being formed, or what exactly are you looking for as far as supporting documentation? But Ms. Gia actually just answered it, like to see some type of MOU or support letter showing that these partnerships.
Yeah, when it comes to specifically a question on the NOFO and what documentation we would prefer not, you will need to submit that question in writing, and then our deputy director will answer to you in that question, and those questions then get posted publicly so the rest of the public can see. So if you don't mind writing that question to our email, the one that provided before, and then our deputy director will be able to answer that regarding the NOFO and what you should include in there.
Okay, I'll do that. Thank you, Mr. Edwin.
Thank you.
Thank you, Edwin. If there are no other questions, we'll move on to our next section, developing partnerships. By the end of this section, you'll be able to describe the role of partnerships, identify different types of relationships, brainstorm potential partners, and create a memorandum of understanding, which we like to call the MOU. Does anyone have any questions about what we will be covering? Okay, thank you. So once you have identified your program's capabilities, which we've just done, a little sampling of, and the opportunities for partnerships, the next step is to identify the type of partnership that would be appropriate for each relationship. Partnerships allow you to coordinate program activities for each of the program elements. They can create bridges that allow you to comprehensively respond to the needs of your pre-apprenticeship program. So let's take a look at some NOFO partners. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO requires that you develop partners. Your program may coordinate with different types of partners. Let's go through the list. Local workforce innovation areas, local and regional apprenticeship navigators, construction and building trades, union groups, community colleges, employers, employer associations, community-based organizations, secondary schools, among other things. The primary goal is for all pre-apprenticeship program graduates to transition successfully into the Department of Labor registered apprenticeship programs. Secondary goals may include, but are not limited to, employment, additional training, and educational programs. Partnerships should be a part of your program design. Your application, and this goes to your question, Jada, it's a part of your program design. Your application must include your partnerships validated by a memorandum of understanding signed by all parties. Next, we have partners are formal arrangements by two or more parties. Strategic partnerships are formal agreements between two or more parties who share or exchange complementary resources, intellectual capital, and or services to achieve a joint goal. Gould in 2014 takes this a step further by recommending cross-section partnerships. Cross-section partnerships are often used to describe an array of activities involving representatives from multiple sectors working in new ways to address complex social and economic challenges. This is found on page 8. So what's the difference between formal versus informal partnerships? Your partnerships may be formal or informal. Formal partnerships are highly structured engagements that are often guided by determine guidelines outlined in a written document, for example, an MOU or a contract that is signed by both parties. Formal partnerships are most effective when they're based on reciprocity, which may include the exchange of funds for services. Informal partnerships are strictly based on the strength of the relationship between organizations, programs, or even individuals. Given this, informal partners typically do not have an MOU or contract that outlines their interaction. It is not uncommon for an informal partner to refuse to sign a written agreement as the engagement is based on the strength of that relationship. So they may not be willing to sign something officially, but you still may have a strong relationship that they will do the work that is needed to be done. Although these are informal relationships, the lack of formality is not an indication of their strength, value, their support, and commitment to the project. In fact, these can be some of the most valuable partnerships to your program. So let's talk about the partners versus providers. The Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO acknowledges the following roles: a partner versus a provider. Partners are typically formally structured long-term relationships, entities that work together with you to address complex issues to achieve a shared goal. You and your partners both contribute your unique capabilities to the relationship to maximize the outcome. It is not necessary that providers contribute to solving complex issues or even that they have a joint strategic goal or goals. Providers can contribute by effectively delivering a needed service. They can be an extension of your program's service team. An effective provider contributes services, for example, activities or tasks that support your program's outcomes per their commitment. Their role is to simply get the job done. Both partners and providers can provide critical support for your program's success. And it looks like we have a question in the chat. How should strategic partnership be communicated? No exchange of funds, but history of working together. Would this be a letter of support or some other type of communication? And so I will refer this question to our grant manager and our subject matter expert. Edwin?
To be honest, I don't know that answer to that question. That would also need to be emailed to us.
So to your response right now, we would like for you to email your question using the email that was provided in the chat, and that way it will be an official question that will be addressed publicly. Thank you for your question. NOFO roles. Partners may include the following: recipient grantee, subrecipient grantee, or providers may include contractor or vendor. Now, recipients and grantees, these are non-state entities that receive an award directly from a state awarding agency to carry out the activities as outlined in that award. Subrecipient, subgrantees, these are non-state entities that receive a sub-award for the purpose of carrying out or a portion of the state award. The sub-award creates an assistance relationship between recipients, grantee, and the sub-grantee and sub-recipient. I've said a mouthful there. However, the contractor/vendor is a non-state entity that receives a contract to provide goods and or services for the awarding non-state entity. The contract creates a procurement relationship between the contractor and the recipient or /grantee and or the sub-recipient /sub-grantee. A vendor may provide products or services, but doesn't necessarily require a contract. However, it will create procurement relationships. So let's talk about this a little bit deeper. Here's what each of these the role types mean for you. Partners can be recipients / grantees. These relationships include they must be GATA pre-qualified, are officially on record for the grant, and can receive the actual funds for the grant through a grant agreement with DCEO, require an MOU with sub-grantees, must be a nonprofit, must report program participation and outcomes through the periodic performance report and periodic financial report, plus other reporting requirements by Illinois Works, and must maintain program documentation for 3 to 5 years. This is an ARPA requirement for 5 years for most state programs. However, most state programs require 3 years. Now let's talk about subrecipients and subgrantees. These relationships include they do not need to be GATA pre-qualified. However, they must not be on the debarred list, suspended list, excluded parties list, nor the sanctioned parties list. So as long as they're active and in good standing, they don't have to be pre-qualified. They are officially on record for the grant and can receive the actual grant funds if this is a program requirement. They are required to use MOUs with grantees, can be a for-profit organization, and it can be a non-for-profit organization. Must report program participation and outcomes, must maintain program documentation for 3 to 5 years. This must be in line with the funding source and outlined in the grant agreement. And then lastly, provide services and outcomes that are reported and managed by the recipients / grantees. And that covers partners. Now let's talk about providers, your contractors and your vendors. In these relationships, they do not require GATA pre-approval. They're not officially on record for the grant agreement. They're listed on the NOFO project plan under attachment A, but not always. They are compensated by the recipient or the grantees or the subrecipient or subgrantees. Contractors or vendors do not require MOUs. A writing agreement to confirm services, activities, payments, and other appropriate documentation can add value to this process, though. Contractors and vendors can be for-profit or nonprofit, and they must report activities and services per the requirements of the recipient grantees or sub-recipient sub-grantees. So there's still a reporting mechanism in place as well. All right, so let's go to our self-assessment scale for capabilities and partnerships, and let's revisit. For those capabilities you identified, potential partners, consider which type of relationship that might be appropriate. So we will allow you a few minutes to complete the type of partnership section of the assessment. Again, please do not overthink it. This is just intended to help jumpstart your thinking regarding these relationships. So which type of partnership might be appropriate? Go ahead and use the self-assessment to fill in those spaces. Okay, do you need more time? If you need more time, just put it in the chat, more time. If not, we will go ahead and move forward and talk about the Memorandum of Understanding. A Memorandum of Understanding, or MOU, is a formal agreement between two or more entities. Although they are not legally binding, they do communicate a degree of seriousness, mutual respect, and understanding regarding accountabilities. MOUs are required by the NOFO for partnerships between recipients/grantees and subrecipients/subgrantees. MOU typically includes, but may not be limited to, the following sections: purpose and scope, background, project or curricular program's name, responsibilities under the MOU per entity, agreed upon mutual understandings, reporting requirements, record retention, effective date and signature and dates. So we're going to go to our Mentimeter question, and I would like for you to answer the following question. What additional context have you found valuable for an MOU? What additional context? First, I guess we're going to go with the first question: who might be your potential partners? If you want to share what you added to your self-assessment here, go ahead and drop a few of your ideas inside the Mentimeter. Which type of partnerships might be appropriate? And it looks like we are going to move on to our next question. Based on your experience with MOUs, what additional context have you found valuable for them? Someone mentioned payment structure. Yes, if you're going to have some MOUs, you want to make sure there's a clear payment structure. Clearly outline roles for each partner, absolutely. There's got to be some clarity so you won't have any misunderstandings about who's doing what. So those are very good answers. Any other answers for us? Okay, thank you. Any other answers? I'm going to give you another 30 seconds, see what responses you came up with when you filled out your column on partnerships, on MOUs, I'm sorry. All right, so let's move on. We're going to do a little exercise here, kind of share an MOU so you can get a chance to see what that looks like. So if you would like a copy of an MOU, we're going to share a PDF file using our file exchange WebEx feature. Again, if you look at the screen, you'll see an arrow pointing to the actual file that you're going to be downloading. Once you click on that file, you'll be able to select the download button and go through the 4 steps. So what we're going to do now is select the document. When you see the screen, the file share come up, there is an example in the file share now, the MOU example. You want to select that document. In fact, you can do them both at the same time. Just click each one. Once you select the document, then you'll see your download button open up so that you have access to your download button. Click your download button. When you click your download button, you want to identify somewhere on your computer where you want to store it. You can put it on your desktop. That's the most easiest way to do it. You can get to it a lot faster. So go ahead and identify your location on your computer where you would like to save that document or these 2 documents. And these are different kinds of MOUs, so it's best to do both of them. And then once you have identified, downloaded, and located it on your system, go ahead and save the document on your system so that you can go back into the document as you desire. So please go through those steps. And when you're done, just type done in the chat. Please, everyone, type done in the chat so we make sure you are able to access these documents. Thank you, Ronell. Thank you, Jada. Anyone else? Okay. So there we go. Now, for the NOFO application and partners, it is important to identify your partners in your application in response to the Illinois Works NOFO. That includes outlining their current or future role in the program, providing an MOU or contract agreement, as well as adding them in the program budget. That is very important. So your written agreement should include any training accreditations, relevant organizational credentials, and any other vital information. Ensure there's clarity around what role and responsibilities your organization will fulfill, as well as those which your partners will fulfill. Make sure that you are clarifying in your budget narrative what they are paying partners for, and clearly communicate how much money they're being paid. So that has to really be explicit so that there's no confusion about how much they're being paid and what their roles will be. It's important to keep in mind that grant recipient is the one who is ultimately held accountable for the Illinois Works and DCEO grant. I'll say that again. The grant recipient is the one who will be ultimately held accountable by Illinois Works and DCEO. If a sub-recipient or sub-grantee or provider is not performing as agreed, they can be removed or replaced. However, a recipient/grantee will be held accountable by DCEO. So please know, failure can lead to being placed on the Illinois Stop Payment List. If you're placed on this list, you will not be considered as a recipient grantee or sub-recipient sub-grantee for any future funding opportunity as long as you remain on the list. To learn more about GATA pre-qualification and the Illinois Stop Payment List, visit the informational section on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO website, specifically the GATA pre-qualification webinar. And that is being shared in the chat. So you can access session offerings scrolling to the bottom. For your convenience, that copy is being in the chat, and we're going to move on to the GATA information session pre-qualification. The first step in your grant application process is your Grant Accountability and Transparency Act pre-qualification, also known as your GATA pre-qualification. You cannot apply for a grant under this NOFO if you are not GATA pre-qualified. For information regarding GATA pre-qualification, access the DCEO grantee requirements page or watch the recording of GATA for the new state applicant session from August 14, 2025, now available on the 2025 NOFO site. For your convenience, is being put in the chat. So let's talk about the processing time frame. GATA's processing time frame. It's important to note that GATA pre-qualification process can take several weeks. And this is in the GATA processing time frame. If you have not completed your GATA pre-qualification, it is critical to get started now. This is not just a state process. It involves a federal process as well. If you do not have your GATA pre-qualification, your proposal in response to this NOFO will not be considered. Now, as far as grantee resource web pages, for more information regarding the above criteria, you can access the GATA grantee resource website using the link that's shared in the chat now. Thank you, Gia. Any questions before we progress to the next section? I know we've covered a lot of ground and we've talked about partnerships and relationships and accountability. Are there any questions before we move on? If you do have questions, you can go ahead and unmute yourself or type it in the chat.
There are currently no questions.
Thank you, Gia. So next we're going to talk about effectively managing strategic partnerships. By the end of this section, you'll be able to list the steps for cultivating high-impact partnerships, identify barriers to developing partnerships, identify strategies for overcoming barriers to developing partnerships, and apply tips for managing these partnerships. Clearly, partnerships can support your ability to respond to each of the program requirements and support your ability to achieve your program's outcomes. However, it's important to acknowledge that identifying and cultivating successful partnerships requires hard work by all parties. So this is not an easy task, and I heard it mentioned earlier that is it possible to be developing these relationships early on, and the sooner the better when you're in the program, because it takes work to build these relationships. So we're going to move into our Mentimeter questions. Please answer the following questions. What do you look for in a partner? What do you look for in a partner? One person mentioned they look for alignment in a partner, expertise. These are great. Alignment and expertise, yes. You want someone who's capable. The capacity, good. Trustworthy, yes. You want to make sure you're comfortable with the partner you have, that they have the capacity to do what you need them to do, and that they have the expertise that brings and contributes to what your program needs. You look for shared values in a partner, yes. And you look for impact, making it happen. What is the result of their participation of being a partner with you? Responsible, yes. You want to make sure that they're there, that you can rely on them, that they're accountable for what they've been assigned to do. All right, thank you so much for those. Those are great questions and great recommendations. So what do you look for? Partners should have a track record of high performance in the specific area of support that you're looking to leverage for your program. They should also have a rapport with your organization and be able to cultivate a positive working relationship with your team. They should also have an organizational vision that complements your organization's vision. Now, vision misalignment can cause real conflict. If you guys see things differently, that cannot work. So vision alignment is important. Partners should be clear about the performance expectations. For example, Illinois Works requires real-time reporting in their data management system, IWRS. Relevant partners must agree to inputting the appropriate data into the data management system. They also need to have the appropriate organizational level credentials and staff credentials for the work that they're being contracted to perform. This is particularly relevant as it relates to training certifications. And they need to have the correct legal structure for the partnerships. Expectations should be outlined in the MOU and or outlined in the contract that is signed by both parties, including compensation, like the amount of compensation, requirements for payment, a detailed, for example, a detailed invoice, or payment expectations, for example, 30 days post receipt of payment from Illinois Works. So there has to be some specific things identified, details identified in that MOU to make it clear of those expectations. Partnerships that require compensation or exchange of funds for any reason must be in your proposed budget. Must be in your proposed budget. Any partnership payment or compensation not in the budget will not be reimbursed. It's also important to ensure that there is an alignment between the narrative in your application, your staffing plan, and your budget relevant to your partners. They each must match. And then finally, they need to ensure that the partner can fulfill their side of the agreement and that your organization can fulfill your side of the agreement. Must ensure that your organization has the credentials, staff, and bandwidth to comply with your end of the agreement. For example, referrals. So Illinois Works cannot mediate or engage in contract negotiations nor disputes. A grantee's contract dispute will not impact or change any outcome expectations as outlined in the funding agreement with Illinois Works. So in other words, Illinois Works is not a part of that negotiation process between you and your partner. So let's go to our Mentimeter for the next question. What might be some potential barriers to developing successful partnerships? Let's take a closer look at that. What are some strategies you can employ to overcome barriers for developing a successful partnership? I give you a minute to start to type your responses in Mentimeter. One barrier might be capacity. Maybe it's a staffing issue. Maybe it's experience. Another one would be communication as a barrier. Maybe there's not enough clarity in the MOU, or somewhere along the line there was a misunderstanding of what the expectations were. So yes, that could be a barrier. Any other barriers? Okay, so I have a list of barriers that I'd like to share with you. So here are a few we've identified to developing successful partnerships. A lack of mutual respect, a lack of trust, or trustworthiness. And I think I heard someone read that in the chat earlier, trustworthiness. Focus on money and not on outcomes. What is the intent behind partnering? Deceptive practices regarding joint goals, not being upfront, not being forthright. Poor listening skills, unwillingness to acknowledge or confront issues or challenges, lack of subject matter expertise in areas that are supposed to be capabilities, competition instead of cooperation, forwarding of information, and that's just not sharing the necessary information. And that goes back to a communication issue. And then finally, developing cliques or silos. These are unhealthy relationships. So let's talk about the next question. Using the chat, and we're going to go into the chat right now. Using the chat, please answer the following question. What are some strategies you can employ to overcome the barriers for developing successful partnerships? What strategies would you employ? I'd like to hear from all of you. So please put your answer in the chat so we can share it with the group. What are some strategies you can employ to overcome the barriers for developing successful partnerships? I'll give you a minute or two to kind of collect your ideas and type them in the chat. Ronell says, clear written communication, check your references. That's important, Ronell. A lot of times we may accept a reference, but do we do the next step and go and investigate that reference? So that's a really good point. Anybody else? Jada says, recurring meetings, I'm sorry. Yes, it's always good to have that standard cadence for when you will be meeting so that you have an opportunity to communicate effectively and make sure that everybody's held accountable. There's also another note here, clearly identifying expectations very early. Yes, right out the gate, knowing what each party or each participant of this partnership is supposed to do. Very good. Thank you all. That was a great job on your list. Let's go on to Are there any others before I move on? Okay, let's go on to tips and techniques. So below are a few techniques we've identified to prevent or overcome barriers to successful partnerships. First, practice active listening. This takes us right back to our communication skills. Next, focus on outcomes. What is the reason for why we're doing this? The end goal is that Department of Labor registered apprenticeship, union or non-union apprentice. That's the goal. Create a detailed MOU. Definitely want to make sure that it's clear and everybody understands what is being asked of them. Acknowledge and confront issues or challenges. Freely share relevant information. This takes away that hoarding opportunity. When you share information and everybody knows what's going on, you have a better success rate for getting things done accordingly. Have regular planning and progress meetings. This is speaking to your point, Jada, on clearly identifying your recurring meetings. Yes. Agreeing on how to work will be done. I'm sorry, I'll say that again. Agreeing on how the work will be done. Operations manuals or whatever handbooks you have in place. You have an agreement on how we're going to move forward and do the work. Audits by the grant recipient of the sub-grantees and providers to ensure performance and reporting compliance. So it's not enough to just get into these partnerships. There's some maintenance that takes place, and auditing is a part of that maintenance, making sure you're monitoring that everything is going smoothly like it should. And then last, submit progress reports. This is to be reviewed at progress meetings, and that way people are held accountable based on what the reports are saying. Next, we're talking about effective partnerships. And there are specific actions and steps you can take to overcome, if not preempt, some of the barriers. Let's review a few best practices for keeping your Illinois Works partnership on track. Provide accurate and up-to-date information on reports like general DCEO data requirements. Deliver reports on time. Deliver services on time. Communicate concerns and issues immediately. If you are unsure, ask Illinois Works. Utilize available resources from workforce development organizations. And utilize Illinois Works available tools. Even if you're doing a great job, if your reporting does not reflect it, Illinois Works will not know it. In other words, if it's not in IWRS, it did not happen. So that is important. Now, any questions before we progress to the next section? If so, go ahead and unmute yourself or type it in the chat and we'll respond to them accordingly. Any questions about what we just covered? That was a big piece on barriers to partnerships, good partnerships, and strategies for how to build good relationships with your partners. Are there any questions? Okay, thank you. And we are going to move into our final section for today, available resources. By the end of this section, you will be able to access references and resources. So let's do a brief review of available resources. From the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO 2025 website, you'll find the following: NOFO references, resources for competitive applications, resources on national best practices for pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs, and resources on national best practices for equity for pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs. NOFO provides national best practices starting on page 4, and these are valuable resources that can help inform how you structure your program. In the NOFO, starting on page 30, you'll find the following references and resources like acronyms used in the NOFO. That's very important. Definitions from the Illinois Works Program Act, NOFO references, resources on competitive applications, resources on national best practices for, again, pre-apprenticeship and apprenticeship programs, and again, resources on national best practices for equity, pre-apprenticeship, and apprenticeship programs. and the link is provided for you in the chat. Now, Illinois Works has provided the 2025 grantees with a grantee manual as a resource for instructions, guidance, tools, and expectations for program design, implementation, and delivery. Illinois Works is a semi-structured model with minimum program standards and outcomes, which are outlined in this manual. Guidelines that articulate structural expectations can be found in this document. So this is your home base for all things Illinois Works. You can access this resource by using the link that's shared in the chat. The 2026 Grantee Manual is currently under development and will be available to all grantees that receive funding for 2026. So if you are one of those grantees, you will receive a 2026 version of this Grantee Manual. Are there any questions regarding the Grantee Manual? Okay. Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO website. Given the comprehensive expectations of the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO, it's likely that your program may be able to respond to one or more of the program requirements, but not all, and that's okay. This type of comprehensive approach to workforce development may require you to partner with other organizations and institutions with complementary programs and services, which together allows you to present your strongest NOFO application. So you want to think about that. How do you partner with the right people that will give you a stronger application? So if you want to learn more, future programs as well as past program recordings can be found on the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO website. You can access the registration link from the Illinois Works Pre-Apprenticeship NOFO website. And for your convenience, it's being pasted in the chat now. Any questions before we close out our session? Any questions? If not, we're going to go and go ahead. I'm sorry.
just letting you know. Nope, there are no questions in the chat.
All right, thank you, Gia. So let's move on into our final stage, and this is our evaluation of our training for today. And this is such an important part of how it helps us to improve our programming for future webinars. And thank you, Jada. So what we would like you to do is we're going to hear from you. Go ahead, you can scan the QR code or you can use the link that's provided for you in the chat, the web link, or you can go to menti.com and put the code in. Now you will see on the right-hand side, if it's still available on your screen, that blue button. You can go ahead and click that blue button to get you into the multimedia viewer. This will allow you to participate with providing the feedback that we are requesting for our benefit to improve our programming. And if everyone has been able to get in and have access, we can go ahead and get started. So the first question we're going to ask of you is, to share your views on this training by rating the following statements from 1 being the lowest to 10 being the highest. To what extent did it meet your expectations? How likely are you to attend a similar event in the future? And how likely are you to recommend this training to others? Okay, we're starting to get some ratings in now. And we do have one more event coming up on next Tuesday, performance-based model. So that would be an interesting one to attend as well. So thank you. Let's move on to the next question. The course was relevant to what I wanted to learn about this subject matter. And this is on a scale of strongly disagree to strongly agree. Please make your selection. Okay, are there any others who would like to provide feedback? I see 2 people have offered feedback. Thank you. Are there any others? All right, thank you. Moving on to the next question. I plan to apply what I've learned. Same model, strongly agree to strongly disagree. Very good. I'm glad to hear that this is very helpful in terms of applying it to the application process you're going to engage in. So very good. Thank you. Anyone else? Okay. We're going to move on to the next one. What improvements might you recommend? Given that we've covered a lot of ground today, is there anything that you felt was missing that we could improve for this type of presentation the next time we deliver it? Well done, thank you. And if there are no other improvements, you can just say NA for non-applicable. Great job, thank you very much. Is there anyone else who'd like to respond? All right, next slide, please. What did you find effective? If we can make any changes, what would you want us to keep? And I guess another way of saying that was, what stood out to you most that was helpful? I'll give you another 30 seconds or so to kind of get your answers together. You shared a lot of valuable resources. Okay, very good. And you have access to get to them, so you can see them as often as you like. Depth of information was appropriate. Thank you very much for that comment. We always want to make sure we're giving you, what you need to know to make this an effective webinar, especially because you are learning how to apply for this grant. So thank you for that comment. Any others? Any others? Engaging. All right, awesome, awesome. Another 20 seconds and then we'll move on to the next slide. Links and documents were helpful, yes. Thank you very much for that. All right, is there anything else about this course you think we should know? Did we miss anything that you thought should have been mentioned? Anything you think we should know? And if not, you can go ahead and say NA, non-applicable. That'll let us know you're still in the room. Thank you. Thank you. Anything else you think we should know? Well, great. Thank you all for your time. We appreciate your feedback. It will help us to improve the quality of our training. And I see another comment, the earlier repetition of information would reduce time. Okay, thank you for sharing that. I think one logic behind that is that different people are attending the meetings and we want to make sure that they get some information that is relevant. So a little bit of repetition is kind of needed. But I appreciate your comment. If there are no other responses, we're going to close out our session. And I want to say thank you, and we appreciate your feedback. It'll help us to improve the quality of our training. I want you to have a great day and a better weekend. Goodbye, everybody.